All right, this is the bike. I bought this bike last year, I guess 2016, for the Arizona Trail Race. It is a 2014 or 15 Camber, FSR frame, 29-inch wheels. Um, this is the latest addition to it. I guess there's two changes from last year. My Fusion, X-Fusion shock. I sent it out for service because I was having a problem with the lockout, and I paid them extra to custom tune it to be able to hold the extra weight. And since I weigh 205 or so, I wanted them to go ahead and make it to where when you do lock it out, it adds more compression, and it's more like a true lockout, and it's set up more for when I'm riding heavy. My trails here in Corpus Christi don't have a whole lot of elevation change or anything like that, so it's best just to ride a hardtail out there. So I have a Specialized hard rock comp that I like riding out there, or I can lock this guy out and have a really good time. This frame bag is something that I worked on and worked on and worked on. Third time was a charm, where I almost got it right, and then I sent it down to my neighbor, and she took care of it for me. It's nice to be able to actually hold things within my frame bag. So I carried my camp stove here in the bottom, wrapped it with a inner tube, had a shock pump, and my other air pump in here for my inner tubes, CO2 cartridges. Up top, mostly I kept food. I had a lot of baby food packets. And I was really shocked how much baby food packets, Sport Beans by Jelly Belly, that I could pack all up in the top of my frame. I joke with people, I call it the flying goose, because the bag comes to a point, kind of looks like a goose. But it's very nice to be able to have storage within the frame, lower the center of gravity of the bike, and be able to hold more content there. My number one reason for the bag was so that way I wouldn't carry so much on my back. It seems like the previous year I carried an additional liter of water on my back and carried a lot of food and a little bit of clothes on my back. And some riders can go out and do that. I, for one, cannot carry a lot of load on my back, just the way I'm hunched over and riding. So my neighbor, Mary, did a hell of a job putting this bag together. And I got a lot of compliments out there, so thank you very much for appreciating the bag and putting it together and liking it. One thing I did modify the bag is there's a ruler in here that I cut to length, and I actually bolted the bottom of the bag to the frame using the eyelets for a water bottle. There is a little bit of Velcro up top and the bottom, but the bottom of my bag is actually bolted to the frame so it won't move, and then you can pack it pretty full and it doesn't slide. There's no sliding whatsoever. My front cages have already come off, so I had on the front ends, I had two 1 liter bottles. Where is... Well, I had black burner cages on it, so I have one on the bottom here. I was able to unbolt my cable routing from my brake and my mechanical and all that in the back. So I was also able to hold a 1 liter bottle below here. It did take me a couple of tries to get the right bottle, because when my front shock would compress, it would rub onto that bottle. So a lot of times I'd run with a little bit smaller. So my jerry can would be here. The gas tank was up front. Oh yeah, also not factory on the bike was my SQ Labs Active 611 saddle. It treated me well. Came home, I was on the trail twice as long as most riders, and never came down with a saddle sore of any sort. So the saddle treated me quite well, along with my chamois. And tires I started off with were, I think I had a Specialized ground control and a Specialized slaughter. Day one I dinged up my slaughter on the front, whichever my front tire was. I got a little gash in it. The orange sealed held, until 2.5 days in, and then I finally ripped the seal off it and had to tube up. So that's when I went with the Bontrager on the front end out of Tucson, and then it wasn't until my last day on the trail that I sidewall gashed that. Somewhere I punctured my rear, and somewhere by the Gila I had to change that out. So I'm pretty happy with my tires on it. I did come back and put these Kenda Tire Karma Pro. These are the tires I bought for 2016 as backups. They've just been sitting in my garage. Put them on. I've been very happy. We rode my local trails and did some really good riding out there. So they're the Karma Pro from Kenda Tire. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep riding. Like they all say, rubber side down. Thanks for watching Derek Rides. See you out there on the trails.